That, my friend, was Johnny Jewel doing his song Windswept. Johnny Jewel was not known to me until Twin Peaks came back on, and they were playing his music in some of the scenes. I was kind of digging that, and I looked in the credits, and sure enough, they had it. Went to YouTube, found it, and there it is. So that's Johnny Jewel singing Windswept. Check it out if you want to go. It's been my earworm in my head for the last couple days now, but it's worth it. There's a whole lot more to it than that, but I don't want to get in trouble for playing it because I probably will. Anyway, I pity the fool who's got to watch this episode, though, to catch me on it. So hi out there if you're watching. Enjoy. Anyway, my name is Dylan Lang, and I am over 21 years old, so I'm having a beer on today's International Beer Day, which we'll talk about a little later in the show. This is my last show before vacation. Haha. Yeah, y'all thought, oh, thank God he's going to be off my YouTube channel. Nope. I'll be back, but I'm taking a week off. I need a vacation, hence the name of the episode 203, I Need a Vacation. Last year, we couldn't afford a proper vacation, so we did a couple of long weekends here and there, which is just as fine, but sometimes you just need a block of a week. Instead of like a 4-day weekend, you need like 7 straight days. So we're doing a Sunday to Sunday rental down in the Outer Banks, North Carolina. Now, before y'all freak out about that, and I've had to explain this all week to everybody, the Outer Banks is big, all right? You're driving down the road, crossing the bridge, and you get to the stoplight. You go right, we go left. We go left. Left is heading back north, heading back up towards Virginia. It's still North Carolina, but it's heading closer north. You get Southern Shores, which is where we were 2 years ago, which was actually pretty nice. Then you have Duck, which is where we're going to be going this year. And then you have Corolla, which is where we've been the last 7 times or so we've been down at the Outer Banks. Corolla is the furthest north, and it ends, and then there's a 4-wheel drive beach. There's more houses on the beach, but you can only access it if you have a 4-wheel drive vehicle because you have to cross the sand to get to it. So I guess that's a way to draw people who have like Jeeps and 4-wheel drive, stuff like that. Now, for the longest time, Virginia and North Carolina have been fighting over trying to get a bridge connecting Virginia to North Carolina. That way it would ease the pressure of going down the way we go, because basically, since we go to Corolla, we got to go all the way down, then across, and then back up. Whereas if we had a bridge, we just go cut our time in half. But there's issues with that. I guess the neighborhoods, I guess I can understand that the neighborhoods in those areas don't want to have the traffic, because you'll get more traffic coming down that way, and it'll lessen the traffic going the other way. But you see, if you go to the right, you're heading down to Nags Head and Kitty Hawk and Kill Devil Hills, which are the more, I wouldn't say Ocean City-esque type of places, but you get more miniature golf and restaurants and hotels, and the houses aren't quite as big, and you get more shops, and there's a lot more nightlife and stuff like that. And then you get past Kill Devil Hills, you go down further, you get to Ocracoke and Hatteras and Cape Hatteras, and that's where they're having the issues with the blackouts and trying to get the power back down there. But that's way, way far down. It's like 30 miles from where we go. So when you're crossing the bridge, if you want to go to Roanoke, it's like another 30 miles down the road. So it's a little bit of a hike. So we're not in any danger as of now of any electricity going out. We are, but as I said, we've never been to Duck. We've driven through it, and my uncle owns a house in Duck, but we're not going to my uncle's house. We're going to a bigger house, and we've never been to Duck before. We decided to go with Duck this year because Duck has more activity since the kids are getting older. Not quite as much as, say, Kill Devil Hills or Nags Head or stuff like that. But it still is a bit more than, say, Corolla. Corolla's got a few things, got some shopping centers, but nothing like one miniature golf course and like that, whereas Duck's got a lot more interesting things going on to it. So it should be entertaining, should be good. It'll be nice, relaxing. We're doing a Sunday to Sunday rental, which is actually better because when you go down Saturday, most rentals down at the Outer Banks is Saturday to Saturday. So you got the people who are leaving because it's two lane. It's a two-lane highway. People leaving, so they're backed up all the way up to Corolla, and then you got the people coming, which is also backed up all the way into Corolla. So it's like you can't win. There's no winning unless you get there at like 4 a.m. But then you're sort of stuck because nothing is available till like say 3 p.m. unless you get early check-in, then it's 1 p.m. something like that. So there's all kinds of things, but they do have houses that do Sunday to Sunday, and those are a little bit better because they're not as plentiful as Saturday is. So the ride down is not quite as bad, and the traffic is not quite as bad either. So that's good. So it's going to be nice to it's going to be a long drive on Sunday because we're going to get up really earlier, and then we're going to start driving at 5 a.m. It should only take us about 5 hours without traffic to get down there. With traffic, it can go anywhere between 8 to 12 hours. It's taken us 12 hours before. Yeah, we left at 5 a.m. We got up there at 5 p.m. It was a disaster once. It should never be that long. 8 hours I could see if it's on a Saturday to Saturday basis because there is so many cars coming and stuff like that. But on Sunday to Sunday, it's not too bad. So hopefully it should only be about 5 hours. Plus we got early check-in, so we only need to kill about 3 hours, 10, 11, 12, 1, 3 hours till we can get into the house. So we'll find something to do. It should be a lot of fun. But it'll just be nice. We have a swimming pool. We're not beachfront this year, but we're only about 500 feet from the beach, which is literally, here's beachfront, there's a road, and then there's us. So you just got to cross the road and then go between the houses that are beachfront, and you're at the beach. It takes 2 minutes, if that. Walk out your house, cross the street, go up the hill. It's easy. Got a pool, which would be nice, and it's probably ocean view or ocean front. No, it's not ocean front, ocean view. So we'll probably get a nice view of the ocean, and so it'll be nice. My plan is usually I like to read novels down there because you go to the beach. You can do some things, but sometimes just sitting on the beach or sitting at the pool, you need something to do. So or when you want to just relax and stuff like that. So I used to be reading a lot of novels, but I haven't been getting caught up on my comics lately. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to sit down, I'm going to read my comics and get caught up on those. So that's going to be great. So today is my last episode before my summer break. I'm drinking some summer ale. And I am very excited because this is my first summer vacation in so long. But what do we got going today? It's one of these things where I just throw a bunch of stuff at the wall and it sticks. I'm hoping only for maybe an hour and a half episode today, if that. Again, I've always said I don't have a lot of stuff. It'll only be about an hour, and it turns out to be an hour and a half because I got to also do. Oh, I didn't go upstairs and get that. I'll have to do that when I come back. My comic haul, which is my other show I do about my new comics, but we didn't get our money till today. I mean, my wife got paid today. I got paid yesterday, and we paid our mortgage earlier, so we had no money in our account. So I got some money yesterday, and then we got the majority of our money today. So I was able to go buy comics, and they weren't a lot, which is good. So I got some really interesting stuff coming up. So stay tuned. After Dylan Knows, I'll be doing another show. This one's going to be called the Comic Haul, and talking to you guys about my new comics. So after the show, give me Scott's on. Hi, Scott. Yay. I didn't know if you were going to be on since I usually do these on Saturday nights, but thank you for watching again, as usual. And unfortunately, you're going to have to find something else next week, buddy, because I'm going to be on vacation. And the Wi-Fi down at the ocean is terrible. If I'll look into it, maybe I might do a little one, maybe. I doubt it. I don't think I really want to because I'm on vacation, dude. I'm going to be at the beach and pool and drinking and playing board games and reading comics and watching movies and hanging out with the family and doing ocean and water sports and miniature golf and all kinds of great stuff. And I can't wait. Now the weather is looking a little iffy. We're going, as I said, we're going to Ducks. So Sunday is going to be like the best day when we're driving down there. But the thing is, if we get down there at 10 a.m., we're going to spend most of the day down there anyway. It's going to be 78 degrees. Oh, okay, Scott. I guess you were somebody else then. Hi, Scott. I thought I was talking to you, Scott, to my one viewer. It's okay. So whoever my other one viewer is, hi, how are you? Um, so the weather, Sunday we're going down, and it's going to be 78 and sunny when we get to Duck, which isn't bad. Humidity shouldn't be too bad. It doesn't get really humid down there. Not as bad as up here because it's disgusting out there now. It's supposed to break tonight, and next week in Baltimore is going to be nice, but we're going to be down, as I said, down in Duck. So we're looking at 78 degrees, like on, actually, let me take a look at that. 78 degrees and sunny in Duck on Sunday when we get down there. Oh, what's that in Harrisburg? Ooh, thunderstorm. That's a pretty cool picture. So actually, they're saying 77 now, 77 and sunny. Monday, they have the thundercloud, which is the cloud with the lightning, and that usually means a potential for rain, but not rain all day. So it could be a cloudy day, could be breaks of sun here and there, but there is going to be potential for some rain. 82 degrees, which isn't bad. Tuesday, same thing. So it's going to be 80 degrees. So chance of rain all day, clouds, stuff like that, and thunderstorm, chance of thunderstorms too. Wednesday, partly sunny. 79. That's going to probably be a really nice day also. Thursday is going to be 80 degrees and partly sunny, so that's going to be a really nice day. Friday and Saturday look like right now just straight on rain, so we'll see if that changes or not. I hope it doesn't, because earlier, like literally about 2 hours ago, Saturday said it was going to be partly sunny, so we'll see what happens. But right now it says Friday and Saturday are going to be pouring down rain, so we'll see what happens on that. So 82 and 82. And then on the day we leave next Sunday, partly sunny at 83. So it's actually going to be really nice. What is the humidity down there now? The humidity down there now is 78%, which is like nothing compared to, let's see what it is up here in Reisterstown. Oh, hey, look at that. Oh, it's only 71%. I guess it's dropping quickly. What's it in Washington? 67. Yeah, it's dropping because it was not that low this morning or today. Baltimore 69. So yeah, the humidity must be rolling out of here. So that's pretty cool. So Harrisburg, you're getting a thunderstorm right now. So very cool. So that's what the weather is going to be. So we'll see. I mean, I think we've been down there before when it's rained, but never multiple days when it's raining. So we'll see what happens. I mean, we have DVD players at the place. So I'm going to bring a bunch of movies. I have my comics. I'm going to be writing my Pokemon story, which I talked about on the show before. The kids will be able to play and stuff like that, and we'll have games and cards and stuff we can do, and it shouldn't be a problem. So and there's going to be shopping and stuff we can do also. We're also going to do a bunch of Pokemon Go hunting, because last time we were in North Carolina, there was no Pokemon Go. It was 2 years ago, so it would be nice to see. There's going to be gyms down there. We'll be able to battle the gyms, and we'll be able to pick up maybe some Pokemon that we don't see up here. So I'm getting excited about that. So should be great. So we're going to be talking about today just about a bunch of stuff, and hopefully, as I said, we'll be done in about an hour and a half, and I'll do my comic show, and then I'll be done doing shows, because tomorrow night is the next to last day of our Snark Week here on Snark Alex Radio Network. Saturday is going to be Empire of the Sharks, and it's going to be Squat Cobbler, special Squat Cobbler with Mike and Kelly are going to be doing the after show of Empire of the Sharks. So if you want to watch a really bad sci-fi shark movie, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, 7 Central, tomorrow, Saturday, Empire of the Sharks. And then, of course, the big one is on Sunday to end Snark Week with Sharknado 5 at 8 o'clock Eastern Time, 7 Central. We'll probably be able to watch it down at the beach, but I'm going to DVR it just in case, because we're driving early on Sunday, and then we're going to get to the place, and we're going to probably just sort of chill and hang out a little bit. And when you get down to vacation, get vacation time, you don't really know. Before you know, you don't eat dinner till like 9 o'clock at night. You're like, oh shit, what am I doing? But you don't care, because you stay up till about 11 or 12, and then you go to bed. You get up at 7 or 8, and you're like, oh, this is nice. You got nothing to do and nowhere to go. So, lots of coffee, lots of wine, lots of beer are going to be drank. And today is International Beer Day. We're going to talk about that a little bit too. Haven't had beer in a while, so this tastes pretty good. So I'm going to see if I'm just going to go right down the list. I've been keeping notes all week. Been doing something different, actually, where I see articles on Yahoo at work on my break, and if something seems interesting, I write it down on a note, and then I write it into my book, and I do it. So because of that, I got one 2 pages worth of notes and a little squiggly thing here. So we'll go down in order. So first up, we have Yaphet Kotto. So the way, since I'm doing it from the top, this is stuff that happened after my last episode. So this is around Sunday, Monday of this week. Yaphet Kotto, actor who was in the movie Alien, also was in, I think he was a James Bond villain in the Roger Moore series, one of those films. He also was in Homicide, Life on the Street, which is a TV show filmed here in Baltimore back in the 90s, where I was an extra. I've done an episode of Dylan Knows where I talked about my life as an extra. It's kind of interesting. It's been a while, so maybe I'll bring it back up again, or maybe I'll bring it up today. Why not? Connect it to the story. So if you haven't heard the story before, I'm going to tell the story. If you have heard it before, just bear with me. I got a whole bunch of other stuff, but this will fill some of the time here. So Yaphet Kotto, well, first, and then I'll talk about my Homicide thing. So Yaphet Kotto, the actor who's been in Homicide, Alien, stuff like that, claims that he was abducted and has seen aliens for 10 years. So starting at back 2007, so this is after he was on Homicide. And he sort of disappeared after he was on Homicide, and I hadn't really seen him in anything since then. So, because I guess he was being abducted by aliens, I guess. I don't know. But it just is not really ironic, I guess, but it's kind of funny that a guy who starred in the original movie Alien claims to be abducted and has seen real aliens. So, I mean, I've talked about alien abductions on my shows a long time ago also. I used to do a supernatural show with the lovely and luscious Larissa. But we just got to a point where we were just like, you know what, there's really not much we can talk about that we haven't already talked about. So we just sort of went our separate ways and haven't, been connecting on, Facebook and Twitter a little bit, but haven't been talking face to face so much. But, I believe maybe there might be something to alien abductions. I believe maybe not. I'm not 100%. They're seeing something, and a lot of the time, I don't think they're just saying it to get notoriety or publicity or whatever, because these people have gone through a crisis, and a lot of them appear to have PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. A lot of them don't want to talk about it. A lot of them have a lot, and a lot of the stuff is just too freaky. There's just so many alien abduction stories that sometimes you got to wonder, is like, well, yeah, some of them are probably fake, but much like urban legends, there's got to be some sort of truth in there somewhere eventually that started everything, and maybe still going on. Now, I do not believe I've ever been abducted by aliens, because while I still may have found strange things on my body before, I can pretty much write those off. But I've never seen a UFO, never seen aliens as far as I know. And most times when people who have been alien abducted, they've seen the UFOs or the aliens, so they know what's going on. So I'm not making light of the fact. It's just kind of interesting, but there may or may not be something to alien abduction, because there were a lot of people who discussed it. And recently you haven't been hearing about it as much, maybe because we're used to it by now, or maybe they stopped testing us. They've done what they needed to do and said, okay, we're done with this planet, and they left. Or they're still around just watching us and plotting, or maybe they're getting better at abducting people and not making them, not making the mistakes they made before, which made people remember them. Unfortunately, maybe it seems like that didn't work with Yaphet Kotto, because he's out there saying that he was abducted by aliens and has seen them for over 10 years. So, but let me talk to you about Homicide real quick. So for those who don't know, I live in Baltimore. Back right after I graduated from college, I was sort of not really wanderlust, because I stayed at home. I lived at home. At that time, I was socially awkward, much like I am now, I suppose. But I really, at that time, only had maybe 2 major girlfriends. Well, one major girlfriend and one fun girlfriend, which wasn't really a girlfriend, fun friend. I'm not going to say, you can figure out what I'm saying, and some other stuff. And then I was, after college, I had that little period where I had a fun friend again. And then I tried going on dating things, and it just didn't quite work because A, I didn't have a car, and B, I was still living at home, and C, I really didn't have a job. I wasn't making a lot of money, so I had all the X's against me. But I got a job working at the bagel shop. Now, I've talked about the bagel shop before. Bagel shop, I was living at home. I didn't have a car. I had to get up at 3 in the morning, shower, walk up, leave my house at 3:30 in the morning, walk up to actually about 3:20 in the morning, and then walk up to the bagel shop, get there by 3:30 in the morning, unlock the door, turn off the alarm, lock the door back up, and start baking bagels. And I did that till 10 o'clock, 11, and then my day was done, and I could have the rest of the afternoon, which also created a problem for dating and stuff like that. But one thing I had known I wanted to, I was obsessed with filmmaking. I wanted to be a director. I thought there'd be some way I could be a director, but I was just kind of a lazy layabout, just working to work, I guess. So I was watching lots of movies because that's what I did on my free time after I left work at like 10:30, 11. I mean, a lot of movies hadn't had their first showing yet. There was a movie theater right up the street. I could jump on a bus, or I could walk and go to the movie theater, and they had 8 films in their eight movie theaters, and so I could go see 8 films if I wanted to. Or I usually saw 1, maybe 2, depending on what it was. Friday was always a great day because I would always go up and see the new movies like the first showing of every week. And that was one year I saw 51 movies in the movie theater. So I missed out on seeing 1 a week. Though technically I didn't see one a week. I saw multiple ones during the year, so there were a couple breaks in there. But if you count all the ones I did, I could conceivably have said I saw a movie a week, except I didn't get to last week and get one. So I was obsessed with that stuff. So I thought, okay, one way to get my foot in the door is I know they're filming the TV show Homicide in town, and I may as well also, they've been filming movies in Baltimore as well. Why don't I put my face out there, become an extra? Now, at that time, they were always asking for extras. You know, send in a picture of you with your description, you know, how tall you are, how much you weigh, blah, blah, blah. And you send it to the casting agent. The casting agent would go through all these and post them up on walls or hang them up or whatever. And then when they were casting, say, for Homicide, they needed some extras. They would go down and say, okay, they need a 6'5", mid-20s male with brown hair, or not really brown hair, but male. And they would look through the cast, say, oh, here's the guy we haven't used in a while, bing, like that. And then they would call me up and say, hey, this is Pat Moran from Homicide Casting. I'm wondering if you'd like to become an extra on Homicide. And I'd be like, hell yeah, I would. So they said, this is the date and time where you're going to be at, and we need you down there. So I actually got to do 2 episodes of Homicide. The first one was an episode that was going to take place at the Naval Academy. But the Naval Academy was not allowing Homicide to film an episode there, obviously, because it's the Naval Academy. So there's another school right there, I think it's St. John's, like right next to Naval Academy, right near Naval Academy, that looks very similar with the same older buildings and stuff like that the Naval Academy has. So they decided to film there. And so they needed me because I was mid-20s. I looked probably younger. They dressed me up as a Navy student, and they had me walking in formation and stuff like that with 2 or 3 other guys all over the grounds. And that was basically what my extra job was getting dressed up in a Naval Academy suit, joining 2 or 3 other guys, and just walking in formation up and down past the stars. So I got to walk past the stars a bunch of time, walk back and forth. So okay, it's kind of cool. And then you get paid, and you get to have lunch at the cafeteria. And the 2 actors that were involved with it were Andre Braugher and Kyle Secor. At the time, Andre Braugher was like the star of the show, and he was getting movie offers, stuff like that. So he went to his trailer when it was lunchtime. But Kyle Secor, who hasn't been a very well-known actor, but he's been a few things. He was in the most recent, what is that horror film? The one where for one day, all crime is legal. At one night, all crime is legal, and you can go kill people if you want. He was in the most recent one with that, and he's done some other TV and stuff like that. So The Purge 3 he was in. So but this is before all that, and so Ka was hanging out with the extras in the mess area, and it was good catered food and stuff like that. So, and then we did a couple more shots without the stars, just walking around the stuff, so they can maybe get, you know, which was what we're looking for. Shots saying this is the Naval Academy before you get into a scene, stuff like that, establishing shots. So that's all I did basically. So my dad, since I didn't have a car, my dad actually drove me to Annapolis Mall, which is where we were all meeting. And then they were going to take a bus over to St. John's, and we would do our stuff, and then they would bus us back to Annapolis Mall, and then my dad would have to pick me up and drive me back home since I didn't have the car at the time. So I did that, and I was like, okay. They let us know when the episode was going to air. And so I told everybody, hey, I might be in this episode. You might want to check it out. And the death at the Naval Academy lasted, or the scenes we were in lasted a full 5 seconds of screen time, and you didn't even see us. So I spent all day doing this, walking around the stars, and they didn't even use the scenes for it. So I was like, okay, that's all right. I got experience. It was kind of cool to be on the TV set and stuff like that. And even though I didn't get to be on the TV, it was pretty cool. So, you know, I go back to work and things are progressing, blah, blah, blah. So then a month or so later, I get another call from Pat Moran again. Hey, we need you again. Would you like being another extra? This time you got to go. I think it was to Morgan State. It was either Morgan or Coppin. It was one of those two states or colleges. You know, we need you to be a college student. So I had the look of a college student because I just graduated. So I still had that college look, I guess. And so we went. I was actually able to, I think my mom dropped me off there. My mom dropped me off. Did she? I think it's something else. Someone dropped me off. I don't remember who dropped me off or how I got there. I forget how I got there. Maybe I took a cab. Possible. I don't know. I'm sure somebody probably took me. But so I went there. Oh, excuse me. This was in the winter because it was going to be their Valentine's Day episode. And it was going to focus on a minor character in Homicide played by actor Max Perlich, who is a character actor. He was in Maverick, and you would recognize him if you saw him as kind of a rat-faced looking guy. He was in Maverick, and there was a few other movies I can't think of the top of my head that he was in. And he's also in the new Twin Peaks: The Return nowadays, which he's only been in one episode, which is one of the first ones that they aired, and his character hasn't come back yet. If he is coming back, I don't know, but he was in that, so it was kind of cool to see that. And then I discovered Neil Patrick Harris, Doogie Howser himself, was playing the bad guy, because this is before How I Met Your Mother and before he got back in the limelight and became really famous. So this is kind of the period where he was struggling, and so he came in and was going to play the bad guy in the episode. So he was on set also. And to add the cherry to the top, Clark Johnson, who played Meldrick Lewis, one of the main characters in Homicide, was also directing the episode. So one of the actors was directing the episode. So he was my director. So he was directing the episode. So I dealt one-on-one with Clark Johnson, and Neil Patrick Harris was the bad guy, and Max Perlich was there too. Now, Max Perlich was a cool guy. He really liked to hang out with the extras and talk to us and really, you know, interacted with us. It was great. Neil Patrick Harris, I only did one scene with him, and he was busy doing his stuff. I didn't see him anymore during the show, except for when I was doing the walk around, about the second. I ended up doing 4 scenes. So I was like, I'm definitely going to make it into the show now. The first one was the ones I did with Neil Patrick Harris, where I was a college student. So the scene took place in the, I don't know, like the visitor center or whatever place where people go after class to hang out. The cafeteria might be there and stuff like that. Again, it's Valentine's. The episode takes place on Valentine's Day and the situation. And Max is interviewing people about this murder that he knew about. So my job was, one of the people he was interviewing is Neil Patrick Harris's character before we found out he was the bad guy. So while that's happening, they want us to walk around him so that while they're filming the discussion of the actors, the students are walking back and forth like they are going to class, or it's a bustling college while this is going on. So first they wanted me to stand and look at a bulletin board, like looking for my class or looking for information or whatever. And then once I was done, I would walk towards the camera, walk past Neil Patrick Harris and Max Perlich, go around Clark Johnson, who was directing in the camera thing like that, go around him, and then come back out, so that, you know, it looked like it was people constantly moving, and you only had maybe 10 extras, but it looked like you had 20 or 30 people walking around, because you weren't getting really good shots of everybody. So if I was carrying a book bag, you wouldn't have seen the color when I was walking towards the camera, and when I was walking back, you wouldn't know that I was the same person. I might have the same color shirt on, but you know what? A lot of people have the same color shirt on as others. So I did that for a little while. So that was the one where actually, and I'd always peek over it and see Neil Patrick Harris and just look at him. It was really kind of cool. It was like, this is so cool. This is so neat. Second thing they wanted us to do, maybe I was only in 3 scenes. I feel like I'm missing a scene because there's only 3 I can think of right now off the top of my head. I thought I was in 4. So the second one that we did was the college was doing a play, a version of the play Equus, which is a psychological thing about a guy who's obsessed with killing horses and stuff like that. Daniel Radcliffe, who played Harry Potter, after he did Harry Potter, he went on stage and did this show, and it made big news for a couple reasons. One, he was completely nude in one scene, so he actually went out completely nude in one scene and acted a scene. And the guy who played his psychiatrist was the guy who played Vernon Dursley, his stepdad, or his uncle, I should say, his uncle who adopted him in the Harry Potter film. So that was kind of interesting. And the roles were kind of reversed because Daniel Radcliffe's character is not a nice person, whereas the psychiatrist was trying to help him. So it was kind of funny to see that interplay between the two of them. But they were doing a version of that play at this college because, you know, you do those types of, you know, highbrow type of dramas at college. So they wanted us to do like we were practicing the play. So there was about 4 of us, and 2 of us, they wanted to put horse heads on. So I was one of the guys that got to put a horse head on and pretend to be a horse head thing. So Max's character is interviewing another witness or whatever to this crime while he's filming or directing this scene. So while they were filming us, we had to pretend to be like horses while he's talking and stuff like that. That was when Max really got to talk to us a lot in between shots and setups and lighting and stuff like that. He sat down and asked us questions and stuff like that. It was kind of cool. So okay, that's kind of cool. And then the last bit, I know there's probably another one in there. I just can't remember it off the top of my head right now. But the last bit is the funniest one. Again, it's Valentine's Day. So Clark wanted to shoot a final sequence in the cafeteria to show off Valentine's Day. And one of the characters that Max was interviewing was an attractive woman. And I guess they wanted to play the fact that it's Valentine's Day. They're both single. Maybe there can be a kind of a romance between them. Maybe that they can write into the series later on to give Max's character another story arc. So it's Valentine's Day. So we go to the college cafeteria, and there's the setup of tables. There's like 6 tables all in a row, like boom, 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 boom. And each one had a couple at it. And Clark was, and then the tables were by a window, which you can see out into the hallway, and that's where Max's character was walking with this woman. They were chit-chatting, and this was not going to be like a major part. This was going to be like the last scene of the, you know how they play like a song at the end after the crime has been solved. They play a song at the end and add sort of like a little coda to it. Well, this is what the coda was going to be. So Clark starts shooting Max and the girl walking, and while they're walking, they're panning all the people in the cafeteria tables sitting there. I was across from this one woman, and we had to pretend we were in love and stuff like that. So we were like holding hands, ready to go, stuff like that. Well, Clark was laughing at me. He stopped by me and said that I wasn't being realistic about being in love. I didn't look like I was in love with this woman. I need to do a better job. So he was kind of razzing on me a little bit, which is really cool that an actor on the show who also happens to be directing that episode was razzing me about doing stuff. And this is the funniest part, though. So then they film the scene. Okay, we're done and over. We're like, okay, you got a couple weeks and the show will be on. So sure enough, Valentine's Day rolls around, the episode comes on, tell everybody, hey, come watch the show. I have a better shot of getting on this because they filmed me a bunch of times. So the first scene, one of the first scenes they show was the one where I'm looking at the billboard. And I know that's me looking at the billboard because I was looking at the billboard. But the way it was shot, it was from obviously Neil Patrick Harris and Max's perspective. They're in the front of the camera because they're the stars. And I'm way, way in the back here. And all you can see in the background is a dude looking at a bulletin board. It's in shadow. You don't know it's me. You wouldn't have known it was me unless I said, that's me. There I am. So I told my folks, that's me right there. So I was like, all right, I got in there. So let's see what else we got into. There's got to be the Equus scene. Then they cut to the Equus scene. The way they shot it, if you slow the transition scene down slightly, to slow it and advance it like one screen at a time, you see maybe the tip of my horse nose. It was just a little conversation, blah, 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 blah. And then it transitioned to the next scene. So it was a very quick sequence, barely 3 seconds, maybe 5 seconds in the film. But if you pause it and then click it forward right before the transition shot happens, you can see my horse head. Well, there's like 2 horse heads. I was one of them, just in the corners, like right about right there. So kind of interesting. So then I was like, okay, they're not using that scene. Then again, I thought there was another scene we did. I don't remember that they didn't use that either. So like, okay, I'll wait till the end of the film, and they definitely going to put me in the panning sequence with the Valentine's Day and the people in love with each other. So sure enough, it's the last scene of the show, and he's using some love song or whatever's on, and you see Max and the girl walking down the hallway, and Clark's moving the camera, and there's couple 1, couple 2, couple 3, and I'm couple 4 is like, here I come, and then he cuts and ends the episode. No joke, he cut right before me because I wasn't doing a good job showing I was in love with this girl. So that's my story, and I didn't mean to go off on that big tangent. And I had told it before, but for those who've never seen the show, this episode, Dylan, or that episode, Dylan knows, it might have been a few years ago. There's the story, my 15 minutes of fame as a bit in the back of a sequence featuring Neil Patrick Harris and Max Perlich. So, speaking of aliens, possible chemicals to support life have been discovered on Titan. Titan's always been an interesting moon to me on Saturn. It's one of the only planets that has free-flowing liquid on it that we know of. It ain't water. It's a liquid version of another chemical. And it also rains gasoline on Titan. Literally, if you collected the rain on Titan, you could run your car with it, I think. I know it's gasoline, though. But Titan's very cool because when they sent pictures back of the surface, yes, the surface looks like all the other ones. Looks like Venus, looks like Mars, looks like all the other surfaces like that. Looks like, the Arizona desert. But it's a heavier, thicker cloud, and it's a lot darker on the surface. But then they were starting to do more aerial stuff and stuff like that, and you saw oceans and lakes and rivers of this liquid chemical, and it's really wicked looking. And they say it's so buoyant you could probably float a boat on there and you would never stop, that type of thing. There's really no way you would stop. You would just keep going. It would be a smooth ride for you because the way the chemical is, it doesn't offer any resistance like regular water does. It's just sort of like a smooth type of thing. But they discovered some chemicals, I guess, on land, or it could be some in the water that when mixed in the proper composition or whatever could create some form of life. Now, again, I've had this discussion before on the Dylan Knows Supernatural show with Larissa about that, and Tony and I have talked about it on the Snooze as well. But my issue with the reason why we haven't actually found aliens before is because we're looking for aliens that are like us, which is not necessarily the case. Aliens don't necessarily would need some aliens might not need oxygen or water to survive because their planet might not have it. They might have evolved to breathe nitrogen or arsenic or whatever. And we're not looking at those planets. We're looking at planets that have the building blocks of water and oxygen because, hey, We know water and oxygen creates life. This is proof of it right now. I'm talking here at 10:10 p.m. on a Friday night on Earth as a human being, breathing in air and drinking watered down beer. It's not really watered down beer. I was trying to do a segue type of thing. It didn't work. But they need to search for alien life everywhere, because you can't just focus on the fact that if you live in the habitable zone of a star like ours, you're going to have life like ours. No, look for life that's different. Look for life that lives on something else, you know? As I said, they might not breathe oxygen. It might be poisonous to them. They might breathe carbon or nitrogen. It's very possible. Who's to say that it isn't going to happen? So, but that's always neat. And I wish we'd really send people to Titan, because I want to, or at least a probe to Titan, or like a rover, so I can see this water for sure, or not water, this liquid oceans and stuff like that for sure. It would be so cool to see a lake. Just think of that. Just think of what if there was liquid on Mars and Pathfinder takes a picture of it and you see it. How cool would that be? Now, this would be really cool because this is a different type of chemical, and it's darker, I think, and it would be really cool to see it undulating and waves, and maybe hear if it has crashes like the waves, like the ocean, which I'm going to be at in a couple days. We'll see. 2028, 11 years from now, 2028, the Summer Olympics will be in Los Angeles, California. In 11 years, 2028. So, yay. The Olympics have always been kind of a weird thing. But 2028, we've got the Olympics in Los Angeles. Coke Zero is disappearing, is being replaced by Coke Zero Sugar. Okay. It's going to have a new look. It's going to have a new flavor, closer to Coke, but the same old zero sugar, 0 calories. It's like new Coke Zero, but they decided to call it Coke Zero Sugar. So you'll start seeing that in your grocery store site. Look, I like Coke Zero. I was introduced to that to my boss at my job I'm at now. I had been drinking regular soda, and I was getting a little heavy and paunchy again. And I was trying to figure out ways that I could cut down on that. And we got to discussing. I saw him that he's fairly chunky as well, and he was lightening up a little bit. And so he was drinking this Coke Zero stuff, which I'd never really heard of before. I don't like Diet Coke because I don't like the sugar substitute they have in that one. But he let me try his Coke Zero. I was like, yeah, it's actually pretty good. So I went and bought some, and I was hooked on it. I really liked it. And Dawn ended up, she liked it as well. She's now reverted back to Diet Coke. She didn't like Coke Zero as much as she did Diet Coke. So she's back on Diet Coke. And I get Coke Zero every once in a while. I think I have a Coke Zero Vanilla up there, so I'll be drinking that again in a little bit. Coke Zero Cherry's good, and regular Coke Zero is good too. But now Coke Zero Sugar is going to be tasting more like regular Coke, I guess, because there's always this weird taste to when you're drinking Coke Zero because of the no sugar in it. So it'd be interesting to try this one and see if it's any different. Speaking of sodas, we were at Five Guys this past weekend. We went down to the harbor on Sunday. Dawn and myself and the kids and my sister-in-law and brother-in-law and their kids. And we're all Pokemon Go hunters, so we went down to the harbor and did some Pokemon Go hunting and did some gym raids and stuff like that and just walked around. It was a nice sunny day, a little bit warm, but it wasn't like it was this week, which was oppressively hot. It was like 85 degrees, low humidity down at the harbor, so it was kind of nice. It was beautiful sun, blue skies. It was nice. It was a very nice day. And so we need to find a place for lunch. And we were going to go to California Pizza Kitchen, but they had a 45-minute wait. Like, F that, we're not going to wait that. And Five Guys happens to be in the same pavilion. I was like, let's check out Five Guys. So we did, and there was like hardly anybody in there. I was like, that's so weird. everybody loves Five Guys, or maybe they're just efficient, but there wasn't a lot of people there. So we got our orders in and we sat down, and they screwed my order up because I hate mustard. They put mustard on it, but that's besides the point. Anyway, the one thing I noticed, and this is something that I know has been out for a while, but I've never experienced before until Sunday, this past Sunday. I know Burger King has it, and I don't know if McDonald's does too. Maybe some do, but it's those soda machines that are now automated and have like 100 soda flavors. So you get, your Coke and your Diet Coke and your Cherry Coke and Vanilla Coke and stuff like that. But then they throw in the special mixes. So you can get Coke Lime, Coke Lemon, Coke Banana, Coke Chocolate, Coke Raspberry, same with Diet Cokes. And then they have like the Barq's Root Beer. They got Barq's Root Beer, which I like. And then there's Barq's Cream Soda, Barq's Orange Soda, and a few other stuff as well. There's a whole bunch of just different types of sodas and flavors, and it just blew my freaking mind. It was like, God, I don't know what I want to try, because they had everything under the sun. So I decided, let's try some different. So I tried Coke Raspberry, and it was pretty good. And then I went back and I tried the Barq's Vanilla Soda or Cream Soda. It was actually really good too. And now I kind of wish I tried the orange soda, because it would be kind of like an orange cream soda, which I would love to try. That Barq's, and I like Barq's flavors. So, but I find it interesting that these machines are available now, and you can get really any flavor of Coke now, and Sprite. You get flavored Sprites and Dr. Peppers and stuff like that. It was really cool, and I wish I would have had some time to look through all the stuff and see what I really wanted to try. But Coke Raspberry was something different. I tried it. I liked it. It was different and unique, and it tasted like Coke Raspberry. So, like the old style soda fountains they used to have. So I'm definitely want to go back and start, testing a lot more of these. I'm going to keep trying to find some of these soda machine things that have a million different ones. So if you didn't know that these are out there, check a Five Guys, or I know Burger King has some also. They've got like over 100 soda flavors now, and it's like Coke whatever. You could throw Coke Banana in there if you wanted to, and probably you would drink it too. Oreo continues to go absolutely crazy with the flavors. They've got a new one coming out soon called Peanut Butter and Jelly Oreo. Okay. I don't need to say any more about that. So just so I mentioned it, keep an eye out for it. I haven't seen it yet. I haven't seen a lot of the new Oreo flavors that they've been talking about at my store anyway. Maybe I should check like a Wegmans or a Walmart or Target. Now, Walmart's always a good place, and so is Target somewhat, but Walmart is a really good place, especially if they have a grocery section about finding a lot of these specialized flavored stuff. There's another specialized flavor thing I'm going to talk about in a little bit, which blew my freaking mind, that is only available right now at Walmart, but I'll get to that in a second. Next up is a little sports. The NFL. First exhibition game was yesterday. It's a Hall of Fame game. The Dallas Cowboys versus the Arizona Cardinals. Cowboys won, and none of the stars played on either team. So it's just sort of, okay, it's exhibition football. The Ravens have their first exhibition game while I'm at the beach I think it's on Tuesday, I think. So it'll be interesting to watch, but we might not be able to see it, down in North Carolina. So, but even then, it's just like, it's exhibition football. It's not real football. To be honest, it really isn't. But what I find interesting is, and again, this is another thing I talked about in one of my other shows, but I had to bring it up again because it happened again this year. 3 NFL players, young guys. One was a rookie, just up and retired from football. Now, it blew my mind that a rookie who got drafted and went to training camp and then all of a sudden retires before even playing a snap in professional football. You were drafted. This is what you've been wanting. You got a big payday. Not as big as like you could potentially get, but you still get a good payday for being a draft pick. and you get a chance to start right away. Mostly if you're a special teams guy or you were drafted due to a need your football team needs. But he retired before he actually played on the field. There was also a guy on the Ravens, John Urschel, who was about 27, 28 years old. He's hugely smart. And he's actually working. I mean, he's hugely smart. He's as smart as people at MIT. He's doing like his doctorate or something at MIT. So he's really, really smart, but he also played football. He played for the Ravens, well, not entirely, but he played football for about 5 or 6 years. He upped and retired this year right away. And there was another guy who upped and retired who'd only played for maybe 3 or 4 years. Then I started thinking about that. What is going on? Why are these young players and they haven't even hit their prime yet, and they're not superstars yet, but they're still young enough that they have the potential. You just keep playing, you're getting better every year. You never know what could happen. At any given Sunday, you could end up, in John Urschel's case, he's a center, so he wouldn't really do much. But if you could get a few tackles, maybe 5 tackles in the game, that could be a big stat for you or whatever. Some of these other guys, maybe one of them's a wide receiver, you could have a breakout game, 125 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, something like that. It would be a huge day for you. But these guys up and decide to quit. You're like, why? What is going on? So you dig a little deeper, and then you realize, well, they announced their retirement literally a day or two after a scientific study on concussions showed that of the, what was the number, 80? They looked at like 80 brains of former NFL players. 1% of them, like 2 or 3 of the 80, showed no sign of a concussion situation at all, which led to the other 77, 78 brains all had concussions at one point or still had them and were causing massive issues for the retired players. These are the brains of retired players who played in the 60s, 70s, maybe even the 80s, who had died and had offered their brains up to study the effect of concussion protocol or the concussions on them. And it was disconcerting that they saw that, concussions aren't anything to play with. Concussions are painful. They are constant pain in your head. You never feel like you're going to get over it. Medicine really can't take it out. And it messes up your mind. I mean, in some cases, people say it sometimes leads to them to commit suicide or leads to depression, or leads them to become violent. And 1%, not even that maybe, it was like of the 80 brains they used, like only 2 or 3 showed no signs of any concussion issues. 77 plus showed some form or another of concussion, which could screw you up for your rest of your life. Because let's look at football players. Tom Brady, at the age of 40 now, is considered ancient, old man, out the door. At the age of 40, he is 4 years younger than I am, and he's considered way old. Most football players have a lifespan of 10 to 12 years, not lifespan, I should say, playing span of 10 to 12 years. So you get drafted out of college, so say you're 19 or 20, you play 10 years, you're in your early 30s. By that point, you're considered ancient. You no longer are dominant anymore, but you're 32 years old and you are retired. That's just plain weird, man. Just weird. And a lot of people believe that these guys, particularly John Urschel, because he is so intelligent, decided to quit or retire after seeing the results of this concussion study and thinking, you know what? I don't know if I want to live the rest of my life in constant pain like these guys were. Doing a sport I love, obviously, but there's obviously something wrong that needs to get taken care of. So this story is to be continued, but that's the reason why